to have a bone? To go bury your bone? Yes. Go bury it? Yeah. I know. Hey everybody. I wanted to give you guys the part 2 that we had promised you for our propane project that we did. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how it ended up, and it was been a little bit of a struggle, so a little bit of a saga with that, but everything is working well now. Alright, so we're picking up where we left off with our previous video. We got the trench filled in, and you can see here, so we obviously overfilled it, knowing that with weather and stepping on it that it was gonna sink down in, and it is. And we've gotten quite a bit of rain, so it actually has settled in quite nicely. We may have to even add a little bit to it so we don't have a permanent dip in that area. Alright, so go back under here where they put in the regulator, the main regulator. You can see the all-important white tag there, tagged by the inspector that we passed inspection. And you can see that they also took off the pressure gauge because it proved to be good to go. No leaks or anything like that. And then, as stated before, there's the pipe going underneath and all the way down to the corner, and then it actually cuts in, and there's a stub both up into the kitchen, and then there's also a stub right here that goes onto the deck. So we were able to connect our barbecue to it. So now we don't have to worry about getting those bottles of propane filled anymore, because we have our giant tank of propane, and so we should have plenty of propane. Alright, so now I'm going to work our way inside the house here. And you can see when we get here, this is where is it? There it is. They put the stub for the gas range. And so we got our new gas range installed. It's been pretty awesome to have it. It was a bit of a struggle getting it, but it's been good. So there was a bit of a saga in getting our propane installed. The poor propane guys had to come out 3 different times. The first time was the initial install, and then we had gotten a range. I bought a range, and I bought it before we even had the propane, because I knew with supply lines not being particularly steady or reliable, if there was a retailer that had what I wanted in stock, I bought it because I didn't want to have to end up waiting 6 months for it. So the flip side of that is you have something considerably before you need it, and so didn't even think anything of it, didn't bother to check it, open the box or anything. Just kind of made the assumption foolishly that it was what it was supposed to be. So we were getting ready to have it installed, and opened up the box and noticed that the stove was not right. The top, where the burners are, was a different configuration than what it was supposed to be. I had a very specific configuration of burners that I wanted, and for some reason this range had the stickers that it was the right model number, and you look it up online, and yes, this model number should definitely have this burner configuration, but for some reason my stove didn't. Like like maybe during manufacturing something happened and the wrong stove got put on it. I'm not sure exactly. Tried reaching out to the manufacturer and got nowhere. Literally got nowhere. I finally managed to get someone on the phone, and they put me on hold and promptly hung up on me, and then I was never able to reach anyone ever again. So that's not super confidence building. I reached out to the retailer that I got the stove from. They, thankfully, were willing to work with me, and they replaced the stove. I actually opted to get a different model number just in case there was some kind of issue with that model number. I actually even looked for a different manufacturer, and apparently the one manufacturer is the only manufacturer of all the ranges of anywhere, regardless of price point, that had the burner configuration that I wanted, which, believe me, is very frustrating when you're starting to lose confidence in a particular brand. But I went ahead and I ordered the replacement range and got it. They actually delivered it, and I was verified before the delivery people left that it was the right range, had the right burner configuration on it. So we thought, hey, we're good to go. We had the after the inspection was done and we got all of that taken care of, we had the propane install company come back out. They had to actually install the range for us and finish the installing everything. So they came back out, got everything else done. The surprisingly, because there was a bit of question about when we were actually going to be able to get our tank filled with propane. That was a little bit of stress there. But they actually ended up coming out the same day as the propane installers to finish installing the propane. So we had propane and we were good to go, or so we thought. They got all the way toward installing the stove. They got it in, they plugged it in, and all 4 of the igniters started snapping and going off and would not stop till they unplugged the range. As soon as they unplugged it, it quit. The minute they plugged it back in, all 4 igniters were doing their snappy thing and would not stop. There was nothing to do. We tried contacting the manufacturer again, and again could not get a hold of anybody. Finally got a hold of somebody, and the same thing happened. This time it actually happened to Travis. He was the unfortunate one to get to handle it the second time around. The same thing happened. Finally talked to somebody. That person says, "Oh, I need to talk to my manager. I'm going to put you on hold." And as soon as he got put on hold, got disconnected, and then was not able to get another call through the entire rest of the day, clear up until a point of time after hours. He did the next day manage to get a hold of somebody. I think it was the next day. Maybe it was later that day. I'm not quite sure. But he did finally get a hold of somebody. He didn't get hung up on. The person said, "Oh, we need to talk with my manager. We'll get back to you in the next day or so." Never got back to us, ever. And after that point, anytime you tried to call, you simply got the message, "All circuits are busy," or you got, "Due to high call volume, we are not able to answer your call this time," kind of a deal. So once again, confidence is pretty shaken in this manufacturer. Once again, looking through all the different stove manufacturers, there was not the burner configuration I wanted. And I've been cooking a long time. For those of you who are wondering why I was so hung up on burner configuration, and I have really found a certain burner configuration to be more conducive for cooking. And when you're buying a new appliance, regardless of what it is, you kind of want what you want, and I really wanted a particular burner configuration. So I opted to try one more time. The retailer that sold us our stove encouraged us to reach out to the manufacturer and they also tried reaching out to the manufacturer, couldn't even get anybody to answer the phone at that point. So the retailer, again, gosh, they've just been just so amazing to work with. I really feel blessed that that we had bought the stove from this particular retailer, because they really were good to us, and I really appreciate them. And so third time's a charm. I got the new range, and hallelujah, it worked. It was the right configuration, it was the right range, and when you plugged it in, not all of the igniters went off, and the propane install guy, his third trip out, was able to finish getting it installed for us, and I now have a really nice gas range, and I'm actually really happy with it. So fingers crossed that it continues to work like it should for many years to come, and I won't have to worry about replacing it anytime soon. So anyway, that is the saga of the range, and happily that is over. So anyway, so that's part 2 of our propane install. Hopefully next year we will be able to get a tankless water heater installed, a gas or propane tankless water heater installed, and that'll save us maybe a little bit on having the electric water heater. But not sure when exactly we're going to do that, but of course stay tuned because we will video it. Alright guys, talk to you later. Take care.